The last thing David ever asked of me was simple and impossible. Naomi, please don't go to the retreat. Promise. His fingers, weak and warm, closed around mine. The plea in his eyes did the rest. I promised because I always did. Years rolled by after he was gone, leaving the kind of silence that finds its way into the corners of a house. Our daughter was off at college. I was 58 and wearing widowhood like a borrowed coat. Ill, fitting and heavier than it looked. Then, on an ordinary Tuesday, David's attorney, Mr. Harrison, called me in. He slid a small box and an envelope across his desk. Per your husband's instructions after his passing only. In the box lay an old, weighty key on a leaf-shaped fob. The envelope bore my name in David's hand. Those careful, engineer's letters I could have picked out of a pile. I turned the key over. What door is this meant for? A property in Lake Arrowhead, he said. Crestwood Estate. Your husband reacquired it about 4 years ago. He wanted you to know only now. My pulse quickened. David and I owned one home. He never mentioned a second, much less a retreat, and why make me swear not to go, then leave me the address? Developers are nearby, Mr. Harrison added. Summit Resorts is building out a luxury project. The location makes Crestwood very valuable. They've made several multi-million-dollar offers. I opened David's letter with unsteady hands. My dearest Naomi, if you're reading this, I left earlier than I planned. I'm sorry for the pieces of me I kept hidden. Crestwood is yours. I rebuilt the darkness of my childhood into a place I hope you'll find beautiful. I release you from the promise I asked of you. Please go there once before you decide anything. In the study is my laptop. The password is the date of our first meeting plus the word you gave back to me, hope. I love you. David. I pressed the page to my chest. Even from the far side of goodbye, David was still full of surprises. There's one complication, Mr. Harrison said. David's brothers, Marcus, Elijah, and Isaiah, are contesting the will, claiming he lacked capacity when he purchased the property. He was clear-headed to the end, I said, heat rising. We'll meet this. I pocketed the key. I'm going to Lake Arrowhead. 2 days later I stood before ironwork reading Crestwood Estate, a key biting cold in my palm. The gate gave with a soft, old wood sigh and the drive revealed more than a country house. This was a stone and timber manor set in curated gardens beneath old oaks. Everything looked new, but nothing looked empty. Care lived here. Inside I steadied myself against the doorframe. A vaulted living room rose around a stone hearth, but it wasn't the architecture that took my breath. It was the art. Every wall held paintings of orchids, every bloom I ever loved, every shade and species, my life's quiet passion gathered and framed. On a nearby table rested a silver laptop crowned by a single white orchid. Gravel crunched outside. I peered through the window and spotted a black SUV. 3 men stepped out wearing versions of David's face. The Sterlings. Knuckles thudded against the door. Mrs. Naomi, we need a word. Came a voice with David's tight edge when he was anxious. I stepped backward instead toward the laptop. I typed the password October 12, 960. The screen brightened, revealing a folder labeled for Naomi. Inside hundreds of videos dated day by day for an entire year after David's funeral. I clicked the first. Hello, my love. David said, healthy, alive, and recorded months earlier. If you're watching this, I'm gone. And you came to Crestwood, despite me begging you not to. I should have known. He smiled, that crooked smile. I've made one video for each day of your first year without me. So you won't be alone. Let me start with why I bought back the house. I swore I'd never enter again. The knocking paused. Outside, the brothers conferred by their SUV, papers in hand. David said, voice lower, I was diagnosed with a cerebral aneurysm, my father's legacy. 2 to 5 years. I didn't tell you or Chloe. I wanted our time to be lived, not watched. Anger and grief crashed through me. He'd carried this alone. He seemed to read my thoughts. You're angry, and you have the right. I chose love over disclosure. I pray you can forgive me. He continued. You always dreamed of a place for your orchids, so I bought the last house anyone expected. My father's. He sold it to me quietly when his debts swallowed him. My brothers never knew. I rebuilt it for you. Outside, a police car turned up the drive. The brothers straightened like men who believed the law wore their cologne. In the table's bottom drawer, David said, is a blue folder with everything you'll need. They will come. They want the land now that Summit Resorts is expanding, but Crestwood is yours unquestionably. The knock returned, authoritative. County officer, a young voice called. Miss Sterling, please open the door. I closed the laptop, pulled the blue folder, and opened the door to meet them. Marcus led with a polished smile. Elijah held a legal folio. Isaiah hovered quiet and watchful. The officer introduced himself and raised a court order for inspection. I handed him David's documents, deed transfers, notarized statements, banking records. The officer read, glanced at the brothers, and returned the order. This appears to be a civil matter. No inspection today. Azurd. Marcus snapped. That woman, I said evenly, as David Sterling's wife. They left, bristling. When their tail lights vanished, I shut the door, reopened the laptop, and pressed play on tomorrow. Sleep skipped the house that night. At first light I explored. Every room bore David's quiet attention, first editions of my favorite authors, a reading nook that begged for autumn, a kitchen designed for long conversations, and then the conservatory, glass and light and the rarest orchids I'd only met in books. A blue-hued cattleya stood like a crowned queen. Good morning, a voice said gently. A woman in her 50s stepped from between the benches, sprayer in hand. I'm Ms. Jackson. David hired me to care for the collection. We shook hands. Now Miss Sterling. He talked about you often, she said with a kind smile. Said you had a way with living things he could never match. Did you know him well? As well as he allowed. He came monthly these last 4 years, personally checking every detail. She pointed toward the blue cattleya. Hay hunted that one for 2 years after you admired it at a show. My throat tightened. I'd mentioned that flower once. His brothers were here, I said carefully. Her mouth set. They reappeared when the resort set roots. Suddenly, the money pit became a treasure. Back in the house, I opened the next video. David appeared in the library. Good morning. I want to show you something. He carried the camera down a hall to a plain door. This room is yours. The key is in the nightstand, antique silver with an orchid. I found it exactly where he said. The door opened into an artist's daylight dream: easels, canvases, pigments, brushes. Everything I'd given up when life required other kinds of courage. 15 years since I'd last stood before a blank canvas and dared it to change me. You gave up your first love for us, David said from the screen. I've been saving it to give back. He told me to check a cabinet beneath the window bench. Inside, an archival. I lifted the lid and gasped. My college work. Pieces I thought lost across a dozen moves. On top lay my final project. A young woman gazing forward. A note in David's hand. She's still in there. I built the space. The rest is yours. Tires crunched again. 2 SUVs rolled in. The black one I knew, and a silver one I knew even better. Chloe stepped out, all nerve and brilliance and my stubborn chin. She greeted her uncles like old friends. The quiet sanctuary David made had just become a battlefield. They came in without knocking. Chloe, because it was her right, the brothers, because they believed it was theirs. She hugged me quick, then took in the room with awe. Why did Dad hide this? She demanded. Marcus slipped forward, voice smooth as cream. We began poorly yesterday, he said. Emotions, misunderstandings, were prepared to make this easy. Chloe folded her arms. They have a fair plan, Mom. 1/3 for you, 1/3 for me, 1/3 for them. We sell and walk away with millions. Dad's family stays family. Your father left Crestwood to me, I said, looking Marcus in the eye. Specifically, your grief clouds judgment, he said softly. David wasn't thinking clearly. David was lucid until the end. I answered, heat carefully leashed. Isaiah spoke for the first time, quiet but barbed. If he was rational, why the secrecy, the hidden purchase, the elaborate instructions? I thought of the videos, the studio, the conservatory. Secrets that were gifts, not madness. Before I could answer, Ms. Jackson appeared in the doorway. Everything okay, Mrs. Sterling? This is a family matter, Elijah said sharply. She is welcome, I said, and my home. Elijah smoothed his tie. Her employment is among the contested assets. I've heard enough, I said. Gentlemen, you may send any proposal to my attorney. This conversation is over. Marcus of Veneer cracked. We can make this painful, Naomi. You can try, I said steady, but you won't win. Chloe exhaled, eyes hot. I'm going with them. For now. We'll talk later. When their cars vanished down the drive, Miss Jackson turned to me. Your husband asked me to keep one more secret. Only if it became necessary. What secret? About the true reach of this land, and what's hidden under our feet. She led me to an old tool shed left deliberately unimproved. In the back corner, beneath stacked boxes, a trapdoor waited. A ladder, a switch. Light flooded a concrete tunnel. What is this? Mr. David called it the vault. I call it foresight. The tunnel opened into a war room. Maps pinned, plans layered, filing cabinets stuffed with care. A giant survey of Crestwood and everything around it. Notes in David's hand traced Summit Resort's phases. The public plans were only half the truth. Phase 2, still secret, required a slice of land that touched ours, land they'd bought up everywhere else. Everywhere but here. Your husband confirmed it 3 times, Ms. Jackson said. Without Crestwood, the project loses half its worth. And the brothers? I asked, flipping open a thick folder. Decades of questionable practices, she said softly. Taxes, insider trades, client funds. He documented everything, not for revenge, for protection. Her grief sharpened into resolve. They had gone after me. They were reaching for my child. David had anticipated all of it. What do I do now? I asked. Ms. Jackson's eyes met mine. What Mr. David would do. Think 3 moves ahead. I looked at a photo on the table, teenage David grinning next to an award-winning orchid, innocence set beside resilience. Can I watch the next week of videos down here? I asked. There's secure Wi-Fi, she said. He installed it? Good, I said. Then I need 3 meetings, Chloe, along my attorney, and Summit Resorts. She smiled, small and proud. Hay believed you'd do exactly this. By the next afternoon, I'd watched enough videos to hear David's counsel in my own cadence. They'll split you and Chloe. Marcus plays friend, Elijah the threat, Isaiah the shadow. Keep Chloe close. I invited our daughter to meet at a coffee shop in the city, neutral ground. No history layered in the walls. She arrived late, defenses already stacked. I can't stay long. Uncle Marcus wants me to meet investors. Uncle Marcus, I repeated, mild. It's been 3 days. Their kind mom. You're treating Dad's family like enemies. I sipped coffee. Remember your freshman seminar. Narratives change depending on who tells them. I slid a tablet across the table. This is your father, his version. Her eyes widened as David spoke directly to her from the screen. Hello, my brilliant girl. I should have told you I was sick. I wanted your last years with me to feel normal. About my brothers. They cheated me at 19. They used my name. When I pushed back, they threatened to drag me under. He held her gaze. Whatever they say now, Chloe, they want the house for greed, not love. Don't let them use you to hurt your mother. Tears slipped down my daughter's face. He was protecting us, she whispered, and I. You were grieving, I said, taking her hand. They offered a shortcut to belonging. She inhaled. What's the plan? We'll meet my attorney tonight, I said. And tomorrow. Summit Resorts. We know something no one thinks we know. Chloe gave a small, fierce laugh. Dad always said your quiet was strategy, not softness. Did he? All the time, she said. He said the worst mistake anyone could make was underestimating Naomi. We left together. At 10 o'clock sharp 3 days later, the black SUV returned. Brothers in formation, a CFO in tow. I wore a tailored suit that spoke a language they respected, prepared, not pliable. Chloe stood at my side in navy, wearing David's watch. In the dining room, places were set. Documents, water, coffee, a subtle screen hidden above the sideboard. Marcus introduced Mr. Chen, their firm's CFO, there to streamline negotiations. How thoughtful, I said. I clicked a remote, the screen descended. A full survey of all 25 acres glowed to life, every boundary, every grade. Your proposal referenced only 10, I noted. Elijah shifted. You excluded the Western Preserve. For simplicity, he said too quickly. Another click and Summit's complete. Multi-phase expansion plans overlaid our land. the not-yet-public golf course tracing the western edge. Mr. Chen leaned forward, interest sharpening. "Those are speculative," Marcus started. "Actually," said a new voice from the side door. "They're already board approved." Oh, the Sterling brothers turned as Summit Resort's CEO, Mr. Alliston, entered with 2 executives and my attorney. Mr. Chen shot the brothers a look that could cut glass. "You told me you had exclusive negotiating rights," he said. "They don't," my attorney answered. "Mrs. Sterling's title is clear. What they've shown you is smoke." Chloe spoke then, voice steady. "Do moral obligations include defrauding Dad's inheritance when he was 19, forging his name, threatening him to keep quiet?" Elijah paled. Marcus bristled. I nodded to my attorney, who distributed envelopes, copies of what David had documented. "Some statutes have run," he said lightly, "but regulators love a good puzzle, and Mr. Chen will appreciate clarity." The room changed texture. The brothers' confidence leaked out like air from a tire. Marcus tried one more time. "What do you want?" "Know me. I want you gone," I said evenly. "No more claims. No more phone calls to my daughter. In return, these files stay where they are." Mr. Chen stood. "I'm withdrawing. Mrs. Sterling, my office will contact yours directly." He left without shaking hands. Mr. Alliston cleared his throat. "We're prepared to discuss an agreement that reflects the land's true strategic value, as well as its environmental sensitivities." We talked for 2 more hours, not about surrender but stewardship. When the brothers finally drove away, they did so bound by a signed agreement to cease their claims. Chloe caught my eye across the table and smiled, pride, relief, and the H of missing David all braided together. "You did exactly what he said you would, Ms. Jackson murmured when the house was quiet again. "No," I said softly. "We did." The weeks that followed were a practical blur. Settlements finalized, careful discussions with Summit about limited, responsible access, and inventories of David's creations. Chloe stayed. Each morning we pressed play on the next of David's videos, his voice stitching a bridge between then and now. When negotiations began, I didn't sell everything for a single check. Instead, we crafted a partnership's strict protections for the preserve, conservation easements, and an ironclad guarantee that the conservatory and studio would remain untouched. "Industry unusual," the negotiator said. "Then the industry can adjust," I replied. To my surprise, Summit's CEO admired the stance. David had prepared him too. 1 month after I claimed Crestwood, I opened the studio windows and let the morning light find a blank canvas. 15 years since I'd painted, my hands remembered. Through the glass, the blue orchid waited like a benediction. Chloe brought the laptop. "Today's video," he titled it, "When Naomi Starts Painting Again. He wanted you to watch it alone." I pressed play. David sat in the unfinished space that would become my studio. "If you're seeing this, you found your way back," he said, the room echoing behind him. "Legacy isn't only money or children. It's the possibilities we unlock in the people we love." I built tools, house, conservatory, studio, security, not to decide your future, but to free it. His eyes warmed. "In the closet is a canvas I commissioned. When you're ready, paint what this place means to you." I found it exactly where he said. Vast and waiting. Over the next weeks, autumn eased gold over the oaks while my painting found its shape, the house as it is now, beneath it, translucent layers. The abandoned shell David bought, the family home of his boyhood, the older land holding all of it. In front, 2 figures, woman and young woman, specific enough to be us, open enough to be anyone, and behind them, almost hidden, a 3rd figure offering a blue orchid. When it was done, we hung it in the great room. Chloe studied it, eyes bright. "It's him," she whispered. "And legacy," I said. "Not what's left behind, what keeps going." Winter was near when Ms. Jackson announced a visitor. "Marcus is here. Alone." I met him on the porch. He looked thinner. The arrogance had drained from his posture. "I'm not here to reopen anything," he said. "I came to apologize for trying to take what David built, for drawing Chloe into it, for making his life harder than it needed to be." He swallowed. "I have cancer. Perspective is different now." I said the only true thing there was. "I'm sorry." He handed me a small packet. Inside lay a faded photo of 3 boys under a tree, the smallest David cradling a seedling orchid. He grew that himself. Marcus said, voice low. Why weren't kind? Do you want to see the conservatory? I asked, surprising both of us. He hesitated, then nodded. We walked among the orchids David loved, color, fragrance, patience, standing in for every word that